Guten Tag, my dear German friends. Today I'm checking out a video called "The German Military Will Become Europe's Most Powerful Army," and here is why. We live in time where war in Europe is a possibility, unfortunately, and European countries, in my opinion, need to unite and become friends to fight against our enemies, because America, because of the Trump, is doing some crazy stuff right now. Anyways, don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell for notification. Let's go.
Fighter jets and helicopters that don't fly, standard issue assault rifles that don't shoot straight, and shortages in ammunition, boots, and even underwear during a NATO mission in Lithuania. These are the headlines that the once feared German military are currently making. Not to mention the
I don't believe this, man. I believe that everything that is made in Germany is very high quality, because Germany is like a brand of high quality stuff. If you don't believe me, take a look at their cars, take a look at other stuff they make. It's a lot of good stuff from Germany, in my opinion.
of millions of euros that went to consultants in an effort to clean up the army's mess, with very little to show for it. German high-ranking officials are raising their concerns, and so are NATO allies, where statements such as these are not uncommon. Ever since the Cold War ended in 1991, Germany has allowed its military to deteriorate. And this is somewhat understandable, as Germany was busy integrating the West with the East, which posed great economic and social challenges.
Also, there was no threat from Russia back then. Let's be honest. Soviet Union collapsed and everything was cool, and there was no threat from other countries. So why not put the money to develop economics? For me, it makes sense.
Over the last 30 years, there was simply very little incentive to have a powerful military, as Germany doesn't share a border with potential aggressors like Russia. NATO, and especially the US, was there for protection, and unlike the US and the UK, Germany had very few overseas commitments, and there was very little appetite for a large military among the population, who still remember the horrors of World War II. But now, overnight, everything has changed. Only 3 days after the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the German Chancellor, Olaf Scholz, made a shocking announcement, declaring that Germany will massively increase its defense spending and meet the 2% NATO benchmark. This was...
By the way, not only Germany did it, but also Latvia did it, and a lot of NATO members did it. One of the reasons, as I heard, was that USA demanded it. They said, if you want our support, you will have to increase spendings on defense. This is what they said,
NATO benchmark. This was met by applause in Parliament, and surveys already show that 75% of Germans support this decision. But how significant is this increase? Let's have a look at defense spending across the globe last year in 2021. As you can see, Germany spent $52.8 billion, sitting at 7th in the world ranking list, slightly ahead of France, but significantly behind the UK and Russia. But if we compare percentage of GDP, Germany ranks much lower. Of the 20 biggest military spenders, Germany comes in 15th, as they only spend 1.4% of their GDP on their army. Many have criticized this lack of spending, as it is far below the NATO target of 2%.
Believe me, Germany is spending very little.
However, once Germany hits the 2% target, things will look very different. Because of Germany's strong economy, military expenditure would rise to $76.12 billion, putting Germany into third place, ahead of Russia and the UK, making them the frontrunner within the EU and Europe by quite some distance. And German politicians have said as much, clearly stating that this is the intent. And it doesn't stop here. In an effort to modernize the military more quickly, Olaf Scholz has also dedicated a one-time special fund of over 100 billion euros to German defense.
Wow.
This is a lot of money.
Wow, that's a lot of money, man. 109 billion. Oh my God, that's bigger than it is now.
It's a lot of money, but spend doesn't necessarily equal military might.
Yeah,
the UK,
that's true.
France, and Russia are still far ahead when it comes to military strength. Here we can see the comparison between these nations. While Germany does have a significant number of soldiers, aircraft, and tanks, it only has a very small presence on the sea. France and the UK do have a considerable navy, with multiple destroyers, submarines, and even 3 aircraft carriers in between them. And well,
Mm.
then there's Russia, who just has a lot of everything. As for nuclear,
Yeah, but the quality of everything in Russia is not very good, as we noticed in Ukraine, and they lost a lot of their tanks and soldiers in Ukraine. Also, a lot, a lot.
weapons, in the aftermath of World War II, it was agreed that Germany cannot possess nuclear, biological, or chemical weapons. However, this comparison is somewhat incomplete and flawed, as it does not take into account military modernization, high-tech weapons, logistics, military experience, and intelligence. Whether Germany will become a military superpower also depends on how the money is spent. Scholz has already hinted at a high-level tech wish list, such as the F-35 fighter to replace older tornado aircraft from the 1970s, the future combat air system, which is developing together with France, heavy transport helicopters.
This is what I wanted to ask. Do Germany have their own airplanes? I think the country is pretty developed, and I think you guys might have your own airplanes, as the guy said. So it's created together with France, which is great. We don't need America to help us. We need to provide ourselves with our weapons,
Modernization of air defense missile systems, armed drones, modern warships, etc. However, as mentioned at the start of the video, Germany still seems to be getting the basics wrong. Only around 40% of helicopters and 65% of tanks are operational. And it gets even worse. A recent German parliamentary report found that only 50% of major military hardware is working properly. Therefore, money needs to be spent in getting existing equipment up and running first.
First, you need to build it so it doesn't work, and then you need to spend money to fix it. Let's go. It's genius, my friend. It's just genius plan,
Up and running first. And as you may remember from the start of the video, the German Bundeswehr has the reputation of wasting taxpayers' money. So,
well, probably there are old tanks, helicopters, and stuff that need to be repaired. It's just old. You need to repair it, and that's it.
Will Germany become the new European superpower? Possibly, but not until Germany cleans up its current mess and invests the new budget wisely. But next to the world's superpowers, such as the US and China, even with Germany's new budget, it remains a small player, as it spends way too little. And this really raises the question, does an EU army make sense? Check out the videos below.
Well, in my opinion, he compared only Germany against the big guns, right? But if we take together France, Germany, United Kingdom, Poland, by the way, Poland just came up with recruiting 250,000 more soldiers into their army, just in case, not to repeat history, you know what I mean? So if you gather all these armies together, it's pretty decent force in my opinion. So for me, at least, this situation in Europe is looking better because European countries are arming up. We are ready to defend ourselves. Even here in Latvia, after the war in Ukraine, they started to spend a lot of money to recruit more soldiers, and they brought in the conscription. So when you're 18 years old, you need to go to army nowadays, which is kind of good, because some boys need good treatment. They need to be around good men to grow better. It's better than they will hang out on the street. In my opinion, it's not so bad overall for Europe. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. See you next reaction videos. If you want me to react on something, leave it in comment section or click the link below in the description.